Good morning. This is House Talk with Wally Kerr. I'm your host, Dave McKay. We're here every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on KOKC. Wally, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. How are you today?
You beat me to it. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love getting up early on these Saturday mornings to do the show with you, to help our listeners understand more about buying, selling, and investing in real estate. We've got some great segments today. Just happy to be here with you this morning.
And what flavor coffee do you have this morning? Now, I should say you have a coffee and a scone that you brought to eat, but what's your flavor of coffee this morning?
Well, I've got a blueberry scone, and then I've got a caramel mochaccino. I don't think that's how you say it. I'm not Italian. How do you say that? I
walk in, I say, black coffee, please.
They roll their eyes at me at Starbucks, so I think I'm not pronouncing it right. So for all our listeners that are coffee drinkers, I probably need to get
it. Looks good. It looks good, and we're ready to go. And tell us, what are we going to cover today?
Got some good topics for us today. We're going to talk about float-down options on mortgages. There's a lot of people building homes right now and contracting for a home that's going to be built but might not be done for a while. So we're going to talk about this thing called float-down options.
Okay.
I think the listeners will like that. For those considering putting their homes on the market, perhaps here in the spring or summer, how about talking about home improvements with the best rate of return, the best ROI, return on investment?
Okay,
I
cool.
think that will be good. Got a couple of listings to talk about this week, some new listings.
Fantastic.
And then one we've never discussed before. Let's talk about foreclosures and sheriff sale properties.
This one's going to be interesting. I want to learn about this.
Good,
It's going to be a good one.
We'll make it educational and make it fun. And then finally, buying investment property and even the value of money today. There's a lot of people who have money sitting in the bank. You know, inflation has eroded some of the value of that money over the last year and a half. Let's face it again, we've talked about this. If you had $1 million in the bank a year ago, is it still worth $1 million sitting there in cash? No. Inflation has taken a bite out of that.
Sure.
It's chomped into that $1 million, and that $1 million today might be worth $930,000. It's been chomped away by 7% inflation. So where can you put that money to not lose value on it? So we're going to talk a little bit about investment properties.
Probably when you're doing that, you want to know what the market is doing. How about a market update? What do we have as far as homes available? Who's buying, who's selling? What's going on with that?
Well, it's a great question, and we talk about this on each segment when we come in because it's interesting to know what the market's doing, right? Whether it is available listings or new homes. So the majority of what's available are new homes right now. That probably across the metro is constituting a very large part of the market. In some areas, as much as 75% of the inventory are brand new homes. Here's some stunning numbers. We had a great week last week. Lots of sales. And then Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage is one of our preferred lenders. We had a call this past Monday morning, and he said, wow, we had a great week last week. And I said, wow, we did too. Sales were really up. Okay. And so I did a little research this week, and here's some numbers for you. Last week in the MLS, for those who don't know, the MLS is the multiple listing service. That's where most realtors put their homes for sale so that the real estate community can go out and show those homes, right?
Yes.
So on the MLS, last week there were 455 homes. I drew a 25-mile radius around downtown Oklahoma City, Dave.
Okay.
So we could look at some localized numbers. Okay, 25-mile radius around, I chose the intersection of I-35 and I-40. And over the last week, there were 455 homes placed under contract in 1 week, which is quite a few. Do you know that 6 weeks ago, that number was only 125 homes in a 1 week period?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
So the only thing that has changed is, we are in the prime home buying season. We're after spring break when people are really interested to start looking. We know that the rates, when we heard what the Fed was doing, not a huge jump there. So people are thinking, okay, maybe things are okay now to go ahead and start buying. So could that be combination of things that are the uptick?
I think you're right on the money. I think that's exactly what it is. Rates look like they're beginning to level out now. I think there could be some really exciting news, Dave, maybe as early as around May, with the Fed potentially making an announcement that they've got inflation under control and that rates may top out about where they are right now and may begin to inch back some in the coming months afterward. There's a lot of evidence that what the Fed's done is working. But you're right. Let's even go back 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, 320 homes in a week's time. in this 25-mile radius around downtown Oklahoma City put under contract. That was 324 weeks ago and 455 this last week. So sales are up.
Yes.
People are wanting to buy. Like you said, spring break is over. I think a lot of families begin to think after spring break that it's, okay, we've got through all the holidays in school. What's the next thing that happens? And that's summer. And so families are shopping for homes. I think there's a lot of people still sitting and looking right now and looking at their options and surveying the market, and there aren't as many existing homes available at all. Here's a shocker. Do you know that in Moore, if you look at existing homes, let's not count the new homes, there's about 80 or 90 new homes available in Moore today that are at some stage of construction. Do you know that there's only 26 existing homes for sale in Moore today? The lowest priced available is $190,000, and the highest priced is $2 million. Between $190,000 and $2 million, there's only 26 existing homes for sale in Moore today.
Is that because, in the last couple of years, the value has jumped up 25, 30, 35%, and maybe some of those homeowners are deciding just to sit and watch the money roll in basically on what their home is worth? Or why is it so low?
There's a lot of people doing that. One of the reasons the existing inventory has dropped so much is because there are fewer people actually selling their homes today. You and I have talked about rates were half of where they are today about a year ago.
Yes.
So it's very understandable that if people are sitting on a 2.5% to a 4% current mortgage rate on their home, they're probably less motivated to buy. There are still some people that will sell.
Okay.
And the people that will buy will be transferring in, financial change, job loss, get married, going to have more kids. So there's lots of reasons still for people to be buying homes. There's fewer selling now on the existing homes that are being lived in now because they've got low interest mortgage rates. And so this is why the inventory is dwindling so quickly. Do you know that in just 1 week, that's a 23% decrease in inventory in Moore for existing homes in just 1 week?
That's a lot.
An astounding number.
Yes.
Norman was the other community that performed really well last week, and its inventory of existing homes dropped 11%, with only 109 homes in all of Norman available on the MLS, and that doesn't count brand new construction. So it's a very tight market right now, and if you are a home seller and you are thinking of selling to maybe just move to a rental, you're leaving town, you don't necessarily have not decided that you want to reinvest in something else, I could tell you that with inventory short, this is a great time to sell a home and sell it for a lot of money.
So you mentioned last week 455 homes placed under contract, which 6 weeks ago it was 125. It's getting to be home buying season. We talked about that. It always is this time of year. Based on those numbers, a lot of people are going to be getting a loan. And I want to ask you about this on mortgages. You've mentioned this maybe a couple of weeks ago or something, but we're going to get into this now. Tell me about the float down option on mortgages. Is it called a float down mortgage? It's a certain type of mortgage. Is it an option on your mortgage? I've heard that phrase before. And tell me again what a float down mortgage is.
Great. And I think we can help anybody that you know that's building a home or considering building a home, or maybe it's you that's thinking about building a home. So in answer to your question, it's a float down option. Okay. Not all mortgage companies offer that, but it is offered by many mortgage companies, something you should certainly research and find out more about. So let's keep it simple. There's been a lot of uncertainty in the market for lots of reasons. COVID started it all. Inflation went crazy and the Fed had to intervene. So if you want to avoid uncertainty and preserve the rate when you're taking out a mortgage, you want to get a mortgage interest rate lock. So because rates have been volatile, people contract for a home, and as soon as you have a contract on a home, Dave, you can go to your lender, your mortgage company, whoever that is, and say, tell you what, I'm not a gambler, so I want to lock my rate today. What are the rates? First thing you do is ask what the rates are.
Okay.
Well, what are the rates? And they say, well, a 30-year mortgage with your required down payment is 6.25%. And this is how much your payment would be. And a lot of folks will say, yeah, I'm good with that. Let's lock that rate in. I want that 6.25%, and I don't want to take a chance that the Fed goes in and raises its rates again, and rates go to 6.5%.
Sure.
Or they go to 6.75%. So really what you're doing is you're locking in a payment.
Okay.
You're locking in and saying, I'm good with this interest rate, and really what I'm good with is this payment. So a float down option, though, gives borrowers the opportunity to take advantage of getting a lower interest rate if you've already locked your mortgage rate in. So let's say that you did lock in 6.25%, and during this process, before you close, rates drop to 6. You want that 6% rate,
sure.
right?
Yes.
Okay? So lenders have rules regarding how and when you can use that float down option. And most lenders actually charge a fee, and it's typically a percentage of your loan amount. Okay, that sounds confusing. Let's keep it real simple here. So again, I talked to Chris, our preferred lender at Gateway Mortgage, and do you know they've got a float down program for brand new construction? So let's do a simple example. You meet with a builder today. You either pick one of their floor plans or you carry in your own plans and say, hey, would you build this home I found on the internet? I've bought the plans and I'd like to build this home. So the builder will take those plans and they send it out to contractors. They bid it. 2-3 weeks later, you get this estimate and they say, here's what it's going to cost to build this home. And we believe it's going to take us 10 months to do it. So what happens with your payment if today rates are 6.25%, but the builder gets this home finished 10 months down the road, and what if rates are 7?
I'm out a lot of money.
Yeah, you're out of money, and it's something
Can
you
I
didn't plan
afford
for.
the home?
There you go. Can you actually?
I might have to turn around and sell it before I move in.
Here's a quick example. Got a friend, and I took his listing, and we sold a big home up in Blanchard a year ago.
Okay.
At that time, rates were 3. We sold it on a lease to own. The lease to own is up here at the end of April, and rates are now 6.25%, and the buyers can't qualify to purchase that based on current financing. So we're working with, these folks. Nobody anticipated rates were going to double.
Yes.
That was unforeseen inside the market. So let's relate it to a personal situation. Now you're going to build this home. You'd like to lock a rate.
Yes.
You're good with 6.25%. You're happy with the payment, right?
Yes.
You and I don't know what it's going to be 10 months down the road.
Do not want it to go up.
Right. So here's how Chris's company handles it. Let's say you're going to borrow $400,000. Okay, so up front, now, you pay 0.5% of what you're going to borrow.
Okay.
So $400,000, 1% would be $4,000, right?
Yes.
So 0.5% is $2,000.
$2,000.
They take that $2,000 and they keep that money, and you are allowed to float down under certain timing circumstances. You can't do it too late in the process.
Okay.
But do you know that when you close with that lender, they give you full credit for that money back?
Huh.
And they'll allow you to float down. So let's say instead of the rate being 6.25% and maybe it goes up to 7 because the market gets volatile, what if what I see in economic news comes true and rates actually come down over the next 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 months? What if next year they're in the mid-5s? How do you feel about that 6.25% rate if the rate drops to 5.5%?
If I didn't buy the float down option, I'm a little bummed out.
Probably bummed out, disappointed. So this is why our listeners should research mortgage companies and this float down option. Is because it would allow you to float down to that 5.5% on new construction, take advantage of the lower payment. You're locked in. It won't go above 6.25%. So there's your safety net. But you actually have the right to allow that interest rate to float down to what rates are at the time you're going to close on the home.
2 questions here. Does this vary mortgage company to mortgage company on the time frame? How much time do I have to use this option? Is it just 6 months? My home's has to be done by then. If I think my home's going to be done in 6 months, but it takes 10 months because of just snafus or whatever, am I still eligible for that? And also, do I have just one time to do this, or can you do it twice? Or
I can answer the second question quickly.
Okay.
It's a one-time option on the float down. So once you float down once, you're locked in. Okay. Number 2 is every lender's different.
Okay.
I better not say anything about what I believe to be true and how long this float down option would be good. I can imagine perhaps many mortgage companies saying this float down option would not be good for longer than 12 months. But who knows? Maybe if you go pay a little bit higher fee, and you're building a luxury home that's 8,000 square feet and it's going to take a year and a half, that float down option might be available. I'd say check with your local lender.
Okay, so if it's 10 months and I'm at 6.25 and I do buy the float down option and we get 4 months in and now it's down to 5.75, should I hold out for a better rate?
Yeah, well, I told
or
you.
Or do I kind of?
I don't spin the roulette wheel, and I'm not a gambler.
You're not a gambler, so it's just what am I comfortable with?
Yeah, and I think
I was excited at 6.25.
Bingo.
Don't begrudge the 5.75. It could go lower, but I'm already playing with house money in the casino. Don't gamble that away. Take my winnings and move on and be happy about it.
You felt like you could afford it at 6.25. Boy, yes. You ought to be elated if it gets to 5.75.
Sure.
So if it gets down to something that that saves you a substantial amount of money, gosh, don't play the roulette wheel. Don't take those chances. Get that rate locked in. Check out that float down option. I think it's a great program. By the way, Dave, I have mentioned this once before. We can get involved in the new construction process with any listener at no additional cost to the listener with most every builder in the metro.
Okay.
The truth is, if I walk into Ideal Homes, they love it when I stay involved in the transaction. Some of the biggest builders, Roush Coleman, D.R. Horton, Homes by Tabor, these builders love having realtors showing their properties and representing the buyer and keeping the buyer happy until closing, being there to answer their questions, keep them happy, keep them informed about financing. And so the builders, for the most part, allow us to walk in the door and be the agent for anyone that wants to buy or build a home, and there's no additional cost that buyer has to pay for that service. So if
they don't want my wife. They don't want my wife stopping by every week checking on the progress. So I get that. I understand it. They would much rather see Wally pull up and chat with you. So
give me a call if you'd like, or text for more information, 330-3000. After the show today, I always take calls. I had 2 calls last week, Dave, just
Good.
After we finished. We finished our show at 8. I had a call about 8:30 and another one about 10 a.m. and gave some information to some of our listeners. But if you're thinking about building, or your kids are thinking about building, or your grandkids, we'll be a good resource, and we will help them make sure that they take care of every step of the process, and that the builder does too. It's important because even new homes need to be inspected, and we've talked about that in the past. So anyway, if I can help in any way, give me a call. I'd love to help.
This is House Talk with Wally Kerr. I'm your host, Dave McKay. Wally, how much should you put into a home to get the best return? Because I always think that, wow, we need to put a pool in and a gazebo and a little river with koi fish, and then we need to just knock out walls and do all this stuff. Does it really enhance the value of the home? Is it worth it? Are there some that aren't worth it? What's the best thing I could do to my house to get the best return on investment?
Well, Dave, you just flunked ROI 101 if you're going to put in a pool or a fish pond.
Okay.
No, what you want to do is you want to take a shot at the improvements that are going to make the biggest kind of eye candy appeal.
Okay.
And the things that will make the biggest difference. So we probably have some listeners thinking about selling this spring or summer. So let's see if we can help them out a little bit.
Sure.
It's obvious that people are going to be selling. The kids are going to be out of school. And for those who plan to sell, let's give them some simple pieces of advice. I would start with item number 1. It's always the big one. And my wife, Cindy, has helped a lot of customers over the years do what we call staging.
Okay.
But now we call it pre-packing to move. Staging's got this connotation of, oh, look at all this work I'm going to have to do.
Sure.
But if you're going to move, why not start packing it now, right? Get some bins, get some containers. For some people, you need a storage facility. The last time Cindy and I moved, we bought a home that had a shop building. So, boy, did she clean my closet out. I came home one day, and 2/3 of my clothes are gone. And she said, hey, you've got the smaller closet between the two of us, and I want your closet to look bigger. So I just took all your winter clothes, Wally. It's spring, it's summer. I took all your winter clothes and just moved them to a storage building. And I walked in and said exactly the same thing that a buyer should. Wow, look how big this closet is. And so that's what we're trying to appeal to, are the things that will really make a difference. So
we did that. We did that as well. We moved everything into a storage facility, and it made it so much easier when we did move because everything was boxed up, ready to go to the new home. And the house did look, I'll say, decluttered. and it looked somewhat staged. And it was an easy process. A little bit of work, but you're going to be moving anyway. So it's like you are pre-moving. It worked out very well.
Yeah, you guys did a great job on it. We worked together on that home that you sold, and it looked terrific. From the day I came over and walked through, and you said, hey, Wally, give us some advice. Tell us the things you think we should do, and maybe the things that you think we shouldn't do that wouldn't be a good ROI. And you guys were really attentive, and I think we were really rewarded by your efforts. So personally, at your own home, if you're listening, look at your bookshelves. Are they crowded? Do they need to be thinned down? In other words, if there was a picture of your home on the internet and somebody was looking at it, are they looking at your home, or are they trying to figure out what you've got on your bookshelves in the picture?
Okay.
So that's the way you want to look at things. It's like I've seen homes with beautiful backsplashes in the kitchen, but I've been in kitchens where the countertops were so crowded that you couldn't see the beautiful backsplashes.
Don't hide it.
Right.
Yes.
There was a jug of spatulas. Maybe there's a Keurig machine. Maybe there's a bread machine. There's knives. So what we want to do is really highlight the things that look good inside the home. So bookshelves, look inside your closets. So people have asked me and said, now, you're not going to take pictures of my closets, are you, Wally, for putting on the internet? And that answer is, yeah, that's true. But if a buyer comes walking through, they're going to want to look in every closet to see how much storage you've got, right?
Absolutely.
So what you don't want to do is open a closet and have things start tumbling down on the buyer's heads, right?
Yes.
So the idea is, if you look like you're out of storage, Dave, then the buyer's going to imagine that they're going to be out of storage pretty quickly. If your closet looks absolutely packed and there's no room for anything, you're giving the impression that you've got a small closet.
Okay.
There's tip number one, and that one's a good place to start. Number two is, okay, Dave, you should know this one. All right, you're a man, I'm a man, but most men know this. What do most women, our wives, love the most? And when they go in a home, there's two rooms that are incredibly exciting to women. What are those?
I would say the kitchen.
Right.
And where they are going to spend most of their time getting ready, and that's going to be the bathroom.
Indeed. Yep. Great guesses. The primary bathroom and the kitchen should look fantastic. Okay. So those rooms deserve a little more extra special attention, right? In kitchens, take a look. What's your backsplash look like in the kitchen? What do your countertops look like? It's actually gotten really affordable because there are so many people doing countertops, like things like granite. Even thinner granite is okay. Lowe's, Home Depot, granite shops that are local. I would look at my countertops and my backsplash. The vent hood up above your cooktop.
Okay.
Those can begin to get a little worn looking over the years, maybe a little greasy.
Yes.
Maybe the light cover is broken on it. So a vent hood that's above the cooktop. Gosh, Dave, you can buy a pretty good looking cooktop at the hardware store at Lowe's or Home Depot for $150, $200. Okay, that makes the kitchen look nicer. Maybe a nice light fixture. Maybe changing the light fixture out. I would recommend, if you have the old, you know what indirect lighting is, Dave? You know that how it would have a crosshatch of wood and then those plexiglass panels?
Yes.
It's pretty outdated today.
Okay.
So in pictures, that's a bit of a turnoff for buyers. You need to remember as a home seller that people are either choosing homes to see while they're sitting at the computer searching for homes, or they're eliminating the homes they don't want to see. So when you show a picture that says, my kitchen is dated and needs to be updated, that's going to hurt your sale, knowing that the kitchen and the primary bathroom are really important. So take a look at your lighting. Take a look at what's on the countertops. Clear it out. Look at the backsplashes. There's some simple things you can do there, even like what we talked about, the vent hood, that can make a kitchen look
So the home may have been built in 94, but we can make it look like maybe it was around 2014.
Maybe so.
Make it look a little bit more modern.
Depends on the updates. Every kitchen's going to be different, but I think it's something that should be looked at.
Okay.
Let's move to that primary bathroom.
Yes.
To what we used to call the master bath. Okay. The same. Look at your lighting. Maybe some new faucets. Are they old faucets? Have they been there since the home was built? A nice framed mirror. There's a lot of homes that still have these big, huge mirrors inside the bathroom that are just one piece.
Yes.
What's contemporary today is to take that down, paint around it, get your wallpaper down if there's wallpaper there.
Yes.
Wallpaper needs to come down for marketing. But then a nice frame mirror like you would buy at Michael's or at Hobby Lobby. You could buy these mirrors for $40, $50, $60, $100, and they really make it look more contemporary.
I did that. In the home
Did
that
you?
we sold 7 years ago, took out the whole big mirror, got it out through the door before it broke. Got it outside the house, and then painted it and did a really cool coloring of the painting behind it, and got 2 oval mirrors that were framed and put those over the 2 different
Maybe I do
faucets
remember
there.
you doing that.
And that
Maybe
looked really
so.
cool.
Yeah.
That looked different, and it looked cool.
You know what's amazing is sometimes you do these improvements and you think, wow, my house looks pretty good. Maybe I'll just stay here. So they can be kind of exciting.
Yes.
Even a new bathroom vent. You know, most bathrooms have these vents up above, like the
Yes.
water closet, toilet area. And a lot of them have heaters. And over the years of running that heater, that thing just gets yellow. It just gets amber in color, and they're kind of unsightly. You can paint those with a plastic white paint, or you could just replace that unit for a couple of $100, and that gives a nice look in a bathroom.
Okay.
Caulking your tub or shower up fresh,
Yes.
where those little black spots down in the corner don't look really quite pretty and you wonder how clean it is.
Yes.
Dig that caulk out if it needs to be done and
Okay.
recaulk the tubs and the showers. Some of the things my wife Cindy would recommend: get some pretty appointments. Get a nice shower curtain. Spend a few dollars. You can take it with you when you move.
Sure.
So buy something that you would like. Bath mats and some nice towels. So pretty bath mats on the floor, like where you stand in front of the
Yes.
vanity.
Yes.
Or around the tub area where you get out of the shower, and that's where you're going to dry off. Okay. Get you some pretty ones that you would like. And then maybe even if you've got a real neutral bathroom that's just lots of whites with no color. Again, Cindy, she's good at this, is go buy a little red towel that pops and lay it on the countertop like it's a little hand towel, or hang it from the towel rod. And those look really pretty.
It's a good contrast in colors.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are some things you can do to bathrooms and kitchens.
If I'm going to buy the shower curtain and the mats and everything to match the bathroom, but I know this is not going to match my home I'm moving into, is that even worth mentioning? Hey, everything in here is brand new, the shower curtain, the bath mats and everything. If you like it, it stays here in the home.
Sure. Hey, all these things were just bought so that the home looked pretty for the pictures. These can stay with the property.
Okay.
Sure, it's a little perk. Why not?
Yeah, all right.
You know, remove outdated window treatments. That's number 3 on my list. If you live in a home and it's got the old box curtains and the real heavy draperies and it makes it dark, or if there are white little lacy curtains, Dave, those are just out of style today. The best thing really to put up are the 2-inch type blinds. We call them faux, F-A-U-X, because they're fake wood, or
Yes.
you can do wood. But older window treatments can really date a home, and they can really make the pictures look unappealing online. So window treatments can be a big one. And I'll tell you why. We had a funny fact here this last week. Do you know that the largest population of home buyers began buying at age 33? And do you know that this year, because of the baby boomers and millennials and dates born, do you know that we're at that year this year where the largest population of buyers were actually born 33 years ago, and that's where people begin buying homes?
Huh.
So you got to think about that. These people are 33 years old. How are they going to decorate? What are they into? What do
Sure.
they like?
Yes.
So if your home looks like
It's dated.
very much so. If it looks like it hasn't been updated in 20, 30, 40 years, it's just not going to appeal to those
They're
buyers
thinking
as
that's
much.
their parents' home, and that's what they're moving out of.
Right, right. You know, we give this advice free. I'm going to give you some ideas today, but we're happy to visit your home to take a look if you're thinking about selling, walk through and tell you the things you should do and probably the things that you don't need to do, because every home is different. So call me at 330-3000 or text me and just let me know you'd like to have a walkthrough of your home. You're thinking about selling. I'll bring 36 years experience from our team. We'll look at what your home is worth today, how long it should take to sell, and how much you'll walk away with when all is said and done. So feel free to give me a call or text me during our show or after our show today at 330-3000, and we can share a couple of more ideas here if you think we've got a few more minutes.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. How about this is one that I kind of rubbed my head the first time I thought about it, but once you get that closet cleaned out, consider putting in a little closet organizer system.
Okay.
A closet
I like
system,
this. I like
okay?
this.
For more room and better organization on the inside. They can actually be fun to install, and like I say, you might not even want to move after you do this. They can make your closet neater, more organized, and people love closet space.
And I didn't understand. I didn't get the big deal about closets until obviously getting our first home and then really moving into our next home. And it's just funny. It just comes with the territory. And you walk in there, wow, I'm going to be able to put all these jackets here and all my shoes over here. And I'm excited about a closet. And then, yes, I did get some organizers. And it's funny how a difference that makes.
You know, over the years, I've had a lot of customers that buy these California closet systems. Now, those are expensive.
Yes.
That's an expensive deal. But here's what's amazing. So I walk in the home and I start to take a look and they say, I can't wait for you to see my master closet. I mean, people are really excited about these closet organization systems they've put in.
Yes.
So it can be fun and it can be very impressive to a buyer because there's not many homes that actually have these systems on the inside. Yeah. So it could give you the benefit over a competing home. Okay. Number 5 on my list is paint. Paint's a really, really big one. Mm-hmm. So look at what needs to be painted. If you have colorful rooms, neutral's better. If you have dark paint, unless it's in your media room, light colors are better.
Okay.
What colors appeal? Well, go walk through a couple of builder homes. The builders are constantly researching what people's tastes are. And so they paint the walls and the ceilings, the popular colors. Scuffed walls, patched walls, they should just be painted. My best advice, go neutral. Go neutral. And if you need to, walk into Lowe's, Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams, Kelly Moore, and ask them and say, what's a really popular interior paint color that you see painters using in new construction today?
I like the light grays, a really light gray or just an off-white.
They continue to be very popular.
White, yes.
Very much so. I agree. This last thing, I'm going to run through some topics really fast here. So you and I have talked about this in a previous show, maybe a month or so ago, is that first impressions are lasting impressions. So when someone drives up, what's the landscaping look like?
Yes.
Is it fresh? Has it been mulched? Are there some flowers? Is there some color that makes it more appealing? Wow, baby, my wife in the car, look at the flowers. Look at the landscaping in front of that home and how pretty it is. Look how great a job they did. Sort of like what we do at Christmas time, when we're driving around looking at the homes that have the prettiest Christmas lights.
And I always realize when I see a home that has really nice landscaping, I tend to think they're probably taking pretty good care of other parts of the home. If I see something that has a bush that looks like it's already died and I'm going to have to dig that out, well, what else is kind of let go? So that is a big first impression.
You feel like people are probably consistent in the way their home looks on the outside and how they've cared for it and how it is on the inside,
so
right?
Put a little elbow grease and get in there and dig the weeds out and plant some flowers.
Put in some color, plant some flowers, put some pretty pots or urns on the front porch and put some flowers inside those. How about the numbers on your home? Do you know how often the little numbers get worn off the front of the faceplate?
Yes.
They're either rusted, they're missing in some cases. That's a 30-minute fix. So look at the numbers on the front of your home. Look at your front door. When a buyer walks up and knocks on the door or a realtor goes to show, first thing they see is the front door. What's the condition of that front door?
Sure.
Does it need to be restained or does it need to be painted? Are your trash cans out of sight? Are the water hoses out of sight? You know, what do buyers see when they very first walk up to the home? And then once they're inside, brighter light bulbs really help. Dave, have you changed over to any LED bulbs inside your home?
Yes.
You know what a difference that makes?
I love it bright.
I do too. And so many of the old bulbs are just amber and kind of look orange.
Yes.
But the new whiter LED bulbs, even the 4Ks and the 5Ks, okay, they cost a little bit of money, but boy, they sure brighten a home up and make it really appealing on the inside. Cleaning your windows, that's on my list. Okay. Replacing or shampooing carpet if it needs to be done. Sometimes you can get financing. We use Brewer carpet on I-35, and if somebody's got good credit, they can actually get terms to get the new carpet put in now before their home goes on the market, and they can just pay for the carpet when they close on their home so that they don't actually have to write a check.
Yeah.
Touch up nicks and scratches in woodwork. Put wall plate covers on if they're missing inside the home, whether it's cable or telephone or electrical. How about this one? How does it smell inside? Remember that homes appeal to several senses, not just our sight.
Sure.
Maybe, just hearing an airplane overhead or a train. That can affect a buyer's likelihood to buy a home, but you can have some control over how well your home shows by just how it smells inside. And finally, do you have your blinds open? Do they look nice? I have been in many homes over the years where a buyer walks in, the seller keeps their blinds closed, yet they've got their home on the market, and the buyer walks in and says, I don't like this home. It's just too dark on the inside. As a realtor, I can't get those blinds open fast enough to actually change the feeling and the perception of the buyer when they walk in.
Wow.
So that's what we talked about here a minute ago, Dave, is what do buyers see on the outside of the home, and then what do they see when they first walk in? And how does that change their perception?
And as the seller, it's a little bit of elbow grease. I'm not out of pocket a whole lot with just light fixtures, light bulbs, a little of this. Maybe I spend a little bit on a new backsplash. I'm not putting in a pool, but okay, I'll meet you halfway there. And then maybe we do want to put a new countertop in. That's not a whole lot of money out of pocket to make something really look updated, look nice, new, and fresh to new, fresh eyes that are seeing it for the first time.
It can have a great impact on showability and also can affect that bottom line. And I think that's really what we're trying to get to is what does the homeowner need to do to get that bottom line number higher? So home sellers control the condition and they ultimately choose the price. What we do is we create more demand for any home than what an owner can ever create on their own through marketing, through Google, through social media, and through competitive pricing and competition and deadlines. So does it make sense, Dave, that the agent that creates the most demand for any home is going to get the highest sales price for it?
Sure.
And that's exactly what we do. So if you need help selling and you're thinking about selling, I'd love to visit with you. You can call me at 330-3000 or you can text if you would prefer. If you'd like to have a value for your home, we've been running this for several months now.
Yes.
I'll let you take that part, Dave.
Well, you just want to text 1 through 10, 10 being the best. And if I look around and I notice I have some nicks and scratches, I'm going to say it's a 7 and here's my address. You're going to give me back a value that I'm going to be happy with, or I'm going to realize I probably can do a little bit around the house here to maybe hopefully get that number up a little bit. But I'll get a good jumping off point once I text you at 330-3000, just my address. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it's that easy.
Hit me up with your condition, and I will be able to text you back typically within half a day and give you an estimated value for your home that you should be able to rely on.
And if someone's interested in buying a home, I know that there's different sites we can go to, and we're going to mention that in a little bit. But just tell us about maybe some of the homes that you have currently listed right now for sale.
Well, we had a bunch of them sell last week, Dave, so we are really low on inventory.
Okay.
And if you're looking for someone like me to handle your sale that has the time to handle it, boy, we have the time right now because we have very, very little for sale. We did list a nice home in Mustang this last week. It's Mustang Schools. This is an Oklahoma City address, but Mustang Schools, 1.5 acre. This home is $260,000. It's 8704 Southwest 80th on a nice, big, huge lot that's hard to find at this price point. You might look that one up. It's got a lot of activity on it, but it's a great property. Again, 8704 Southwest 80th. Check that one out. We've got a beautiful home in Rose Creek, and our owners have said that they would be willing to make an allowance just for some updated paint color on the inside. Remember how we were talking about this a moment ago?
Yes.
It's a beautiful property. It's 17412 Hawks Nest in Rose Creek. I still think, Dave, that Rose Creek is one of the best buys in the metro as far as a gated community for what you get. I mean, you've got a restaurant there where you don't have minimums.
Yes.
So you've got a restaurant you can run down to when you don't want to cook. 24-hour gated security with 24-hour security guards driving through the neighborhood. Multiple entrances in and out off of 150th, off of 164th, off of May Avenue. But what I love is the pool and aquatic center. And then there's a fitness center, too.
Yes, it's really nice.
It's like a mini Whitewater.
The golf course.
The golf course. It's
living
beautiful.
Right next to a golf course.
It's a challenging golf course. Do you know that belong to Rose Creek? It's only about $260 to $270 a month to live in Rose Creek with all of these amenities. So 17412 Hawks Nest is a large home. It's priced well, and the owners are ready to sell. And so this is a home that we would encourage our listeners to look up.
Okay.
And then obviously Quail Creek, we've got a couple of large remodeled homes there that are both basically totally remodeled, almost gutted to the studs in both cases.
Oh, wow.
One at 3408 Partridge. This is a 3,400 square foot family home. And then 3221 Hickory Stick, which is just off of Lake Hefter Parkway, Dave.
Okay.
So really close to my favorite restaurants over there.
Yes.
Right? Louis and Red Rock. And it's just
absolutely
fun to be out there during the summer. Cindy and I love spending our time there during the summer. So 3221 Hickory sticks around 4,200 feet.
Okay.
It absolutely has one of the prettiest kitchens you will ever see. It's really large,
Wow.
totally gutted, huge island, serving bars. I mean, look that one up. Our listeners can look up these homes, just particularly on my website, if you would like, at wallykerr.com.
Okay.
And also get more information about my guaranteed home sale program that just says, in the unlikely event I list your home for sale and it doesn't sell in an agreed period, I'll step in and buy your home myself at a price we agree to up front. No gimmicks. It's all
just
in writing. It is that easy, and we've been running that program since 2007. So you can look up these homes at wallykerr.com and read more about our consumer programs. There's things there and tips for sellers. There are free reports for buyers. But if you want to search for every home that's available throughout the entire Oklahoma City metro area with any real estate company,
Okay.
they can go to dreamhomesoklahoma.com.
Okay.
It's that easy. dreamhomesoklahoma.com. Just do a quick registration there, and you can hunt around for homes and see everything that's available inside the metro.
Well, we mentioned the text number earlier. Now we're going to have to do that again because now we got people excited about these homes, especially the one at 3408 Partridge, because if you ever wanted to be a Partridge family, then you need to text Wally at 3303,000.
I saw that coming at the last minute, Dave.
You always laugh at my expressions that they can't see. Well, you just rolled your eyes at me pretty heavily. But 3303,000, text Wally. Okay, so if they want to see those homes, they want to go to wallykerr.com to check out all of them across the metro, and they want to go to
dreamhomesoklahoma.com.
Fantastic. Now, Wally, you mentioned we're going to talk about this, and this is exciting for me because I find this very interesting because I don't know what you can get a home for through this, but I want to talk about foreclosures and especially sheriff sales properties. And I always imagine like Miami Vice. It was a drug runner that had the home. It's $3 million and I'm going to get it for $150,000, right? Boy, I just went way off the topic.
Dave, you're such a dreamer. Such a dreamer. But I love that about you. You got these big horizons, right?
Yes, yes. So tell me about foreclosures and what I should know about them if I'm looking at a home that's been foreclosed. And are there people that are interested in specifically seeking out foreclosure homes and the sheriff's sale properties?
Sure. A lot of investors are looking for things they can buy today that are under market value to protect the value of their money. Inflation has eroded the value of the dollar, right?
Yes.
If you were making $1 last year, now you're making 93 cents on the same dollar. I mean, 7% inflation.
Yes.
I guess I should say that dollar is now worth about 93 cents. So lots of people looking for foreclosures and sheriff sale properties. Let's do a quick run on this. So we're a Zillow partner. We were fortunate enough to have Zillow approach us a year and a half ago. Said, we like your team and the service that you provide. We'd like you to join the Zillow network.
Cool.
I'm proud to say we've been a Zillow partner for a year and a half. There's a lot of homes on Zillow that you'll look around on that say pre-foreclosure. I get a lot of calls on those. Now, first thing I'll tell you is there are far fewer foreclosures available for sale today.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Is that a good thing?
It's a great thing. It's because values have gone up so much.
Okay, good.
So let's say, Dave, that you got in some financial trouble. It was job loss.
Yes.
And you lost your job and you just felt like you were going to get a great job and you're looking and I just can't get a job here locally. It looks like I'm going to have to move to Dallas. So now you need to sell the home. You haven't made 8 payments. But values have gone up 25 to 30 to 35% over the last 3 years. So even those that have gotten behind on payments, don't let your home be foreclosed on. You can probably sell it and make more than you would ever have thought you could, even making up the back payments. So here's what I see. People call and say, well, I see this on Zillow and it says pre-foreclosure. How do I buy this home?
Okay.
How do I buy this home? So what Zillow's done is they've identified public tax records at the courthouse where the homeowner's been notified by the lender that, hey, you're being sued. You haven't made your payments for several months, and now you're being sued. When people are being chased by debt collectors, they typically don't answer the door or answer the phone. And the lender can't sell that home until they own it. When you see pre-foreclosure, that doesn't mean you can buy that home.
Okay.
Okay. It's different from a sheriff's sale property. So a sheriff's sale property it's gone through foreclosure. The lender has sent it to sheriff's sale. It's gone all the way through the foreclosure process, and the last step is for the sheriff to auction it off on the courthouse steps. So what we just talked about, most people are still living in those homes. Many people just stay in their home until they're forced to move, and perhaps with an eviction. So it goes to sheriff's sale, and perhaps it sells to the highest bidder. The people are still living inside the home. I mean, how are you going to get in and look at that home and see what the condition is? How are you going to be able to see the age of the heat and air and the appliances and the countertop and what's the flooring look like? Is there damage? And so literally when someone goes to the courthouse, Dave, and buys a property at sheriff's sale off the steps of the courthouse, you're buying sight unseen. And that's pretty risky, don't you think?
That has to be investors or groups that know that they're going to get a good deal on it and probably want to flip it. It's not someone who's ready to move and just looking for a home, because that would just be, there's so many unknowns. I would think it'd be an investor or somebody that wants to go in and just clean it up and sell it for a profit.
You're right. And it is mostly investors, because the day of the sale, let's say that a property sells at sheriff's sale for $200,000. Dave, before the end of that day, you have to walk in with a $20,000 check, 10% of the purchase price, and post it with the sheriff. And there can't be any financing contingencies.
You just write that check.
It can't be subject to an appraisal.
Okay.
It can't be, hey, I may not be able to get my financing. This has got to be a cash buyer. So sheriff sales really only appeal to or really work for a very, very limited segment of the market.
Okay.
But we get asked about them a lot, because who doesn't want a good deal, right? And that's what you said. Should I be looking for a foreclosure because it's a good deal? Should I be considering a sheriff's sale property even though it's a really big risk for me to go buy that, because I probably can't even see it inside before I make the purchase?
So I would think that not seeing plumbing, the roof completely inspected or anything like that, me, Dave McKay, I'm probably going to avoid that. That's just got to be something that's just going to be investors.
Somebody's living there and they're not answering the door. You sure can't go put a ladder up against it and crawl up on top of the roof and start taking a look at the shingles, right? It's just not authorized. So when you can't look at the water heater, the appliances, the HVAC system, the electrical, the plumbing, the roof systems, and even get a good look as to whether there might be some structural issues, you're right. Most investors are buying at sheriff's sale, and they are buying at significantly under market value, but they're doing it with cash money.
Okay, and if someone is maybe just starting to want to invest in properties, I would think lob you a phone call or a text. You're going to have a little bit more information than they would probably about that property, and say, Wally, this is what I'm intending to do. I want to buy this home to kind of fix up so I can flip it or make a little profit off of it, or I want to turn it into a rental home. What would your suggestion be? And you might be able to offer them a little bit of advice.
Absolutely. We're going to start later this month in April. I'm going to finish here with you. We do our show from 7 to 8. So Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, once a month, I'm going to do an investors webinar.
Oh, okay.
Where you can sign up front, and I will help our listeners and anybody who wants to be an investor in real estate with both residential and commercial real estate understand investing in real estate and rates of returns, and how financing can actually be a write-off and increase your rate of return. So just simply put, long-term, real estate's a really good long-term investment. You and I know that.
Yes.
Prices continue, even though there will be peaks and valleys in the market. Real estate is a good long-term investment. Over time, home values appreciate, and you've got your tenants making the payments, and then there are tax benefits, the depreciation that can be written off. So this investors webinar will focus on financing that's available, identifying specific homes and specific properties that I look at, along with you, the listener, that look like the best available investments each week. We'll explore the financing, single family, multifamily, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and even commercial properties, because I work with all of these. We'll talk about the tax benefits and perhaps allow some of our listeners to get rich in real estate through investing. Cindy and I have been fortunate enough to find some great investments over the years and have $2 or $3 million in real estate now that's paid for because of the investments that we've made And we've learned, of course, over 30 years of doing this, the ins, the outs, the advantages, and we'd like to share that with our listeners. So this will be brand new.
Okay.
We'll start this later this month.
That's a question I have for you, me personally, because our son is in college right now and might be doing some grad school work down in Norman in the near future. And we kind of thought, well, what if we were to buy a small home down there versus helping him rent, or he can help pay for it as well, and just buy a small home. So if he's in that home for just a couple of years, after that, we can decide, well, now we just want to rent it out, make some money off of that, or hopefully it's appreciated a little bit and we can sell it, make money off of that.
You know, talking about your son, we helped a friend buy a home just 4 or 5 years ago in Norman for their daughter who was attending OU. She's now finished her master's and moving on to her PhD work in Colorado. Dave, they bought that home either 3 or 4 years ago for $170,000.
Okay.
And we have it on the market right now for $245,000, and it's priced right. They've seen great appreciation. It's been a good investment property for them. They own it, and
fantastic.
Their daughter lives there. You got to find the right deal. It's not like you could just go buy anything. So we'll analyze when we start this investment course, what are we looking for? How do we identify that? And what are the type of rates of return that you should expect being an investor? You know, we've diversified our portfolio. We have investments, we keep cash, and we have our real estate. And so it's made for what will one day be a comfortable retirement for us. And if I can help others do the same thing that we've been able to do together, I'd love to help. We love helping people and serving people, and that's the great satisfaction that I get out of being in real estate now 36 years, is helping other people attain their financial goals, the goal of home ownership, the goal to get their family where they need them to be, to move mom in when dad passes and vice versa. So that's our goal here on our show, and is always to help people with what their needs are. And that's why I'm here on the show every Saturday morning with you.
Well, great. I know you said the investment webinar is going to be coming up soon, so I will go ahead and ask you next week when we get into the show as well, maybe a little bit more info on that as we get closer to that date.
Great. We'll announce that date next week and start working on registrations, but we're looking at probably the last Saturday of this month, no later than the first Saturday in May. So mark that on your calendars, and if you'd like to join us for about a 1-hour webinar, or join me for a 1-hour webinar on investing, I'd love to have you as my guest.
This is House Talk with Wally Kerr. It airs every Saturday morning right here on KOKC at 7 a.m. If you're thinking of making a move, or if you're now interested in investment properties, how about calling Wally or texting Wally? Of course, the area code always 405, but it's 330-3000, 330-3000 with the words, I want to sell, or just visit wallyhasthebuyers.com. Get an estimated value for your home. It's real easy. You just text your address, again, to 330-3000. Include the condition of your home on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, and then maybe within half a day or just a day, Wally will get back to you. No phone call if you don't want that phone call. If you want a phone call, Wally is a joy to talk to, and would be glad to have a 10-minute chat with you if you want.
Absolutely, but we certainly respect those who would prefer to text.
Yes.
Absolutely, and that won't be
so
violated.
Easy.
So we'll always start with the text, and then at some point, if you'd like to say, can we chat or can we talk? I may hit you back with the same question. Would you like to chat by phone, or would you prefer to chat by text? And that will be 100% respected.
If you just tuned in about 15 minutes ago, boy, you really missed a good show. And if you want to hear a replay of the show, you can go to Wally's YouTube channel on his website, wallytalkshouses.com. You can listen to the podcast platforms like Spotify, Podchaser, iHeartRadio. We are now on Apple Podcasts. You can hear it everywhere, worldwide.
You can just go to Google, House Talk with Wally Kerr, and you'll see the links there. You can catch, this is our 10th or 11th show we've done together, Dave. It's been a lot of fun. We have a lot of material there and a lot of subjects. I would love it if you'd catch our shows, stick them in your earbuds when you're driving, across your Bluetooth on your car, or maybe when you're working out at the gym. I think we've shared enough material that it should really help listeners who are either buying, selling, or investing make some really wise decisions, and that's the goal.
Join us again next Saturday morning right here, 7 a.m. on KOKC. This is House Talk with Wally Kerr from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty Kerr Team. I'm Dave McKay. He's Wally. We'll see you next Saturday.
Thanks, Dave.